Hello, friends. My name is Dane Miller.
And my name is Niall Spain, and we are your fuck buddies. Welcome back.
We are a dating and sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and turn them into sexy, sicky situations.
Simply put, we grab questions either from social media or from our lovely listeners, and we attempt to answer them satisfactorily and help you guys in your lives with your trials and your tribulations and your penises.
And maybe not your penises, maybe...
Yeah, sometimes your clits, sometimes your butt, sometimes like a small toilet, an overly small toilet.
Yeah, just a really, really small toilet.
We're here for everything.
So I want. Do you have anything pressing to talk about right now?
No, I'm very warm.
Perfect.
That's about it.
Yes, I am incredibly warm. Here's my idea for this episode. Last week we barely answered any questions.
Oh, God.
And I don't know how it happened. This week I say we try to be concise and answer as many questions as possible. I'm aiming for at least 6 questions.
Okay, let's do it.
So let's just get right into it.
Am I going first? Are you going first?
I'll go first.
Okay, what is it?
This comes from Reddit user Ellen Gorn11. How do I, a 23-year-old male, tell my ex-girlfriend, 25-year-old female, that she is on a porn site? We broke up due to quarantine about 3 months ago, and today I found her on a porn site getting some after breakup sex, videos dated 2 months ago. The relationship did not end well, and basically she doesn't want anything to do with me, and neither do I. I think she doesn't know, and I'm sure she wouldn't allow it since she's not pro-porn. I feel a duty to tell her. Should I? How? Also, she sounds drunk as hell. She might not even remember she was being filmed.
Yeah, I guess firstly you need to figure out why you want to tell her. And like really kind of be honest with yourself. Like, do you have their best interest in heart? At heart, is it like kind of a little salt in the wound? Like, oh, look what you did. This guy's not as good as me because he's clearly a scumbag. Because I think there might be elements of that, even if you overall want the good things for this person. But I think you need to be very careful not to let any of that creep in, because if she doesn't remember it being filmed and if she didn't consent to it to get put up, it's a really fucked up situation. The last thing she needs is to have that and also have you needle her at the same time. So if you are going to say something, I think you really need to be careful how you say it. I was going to talk about whether or not you should, but I think if you think she's drunk and doesn't know it went up, then yeah, I think you should.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, like, unless my breakup was so bad that like they did horrible things to me, I'd probably be like, whatever, fuck it. The being drunk part, I think, I think that would still tip the scales. Even if I like absolutely despise this person, I think it would still be very important to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, like even like a really bad breakup, I don't think there's any situation where I wouldn't want to be like, hey, this is out there. Do whatever. Like, I don't necessarily think, like, I don't think tact is all that important in terms of like depending on how bad the breakup is or whatever. I think just being like, hey, saw this, think you might want to know. Boom.
100%. Yeah, I don't think you need to really get into anything. Like, you don't need to be like, so the other day I was having a wank. Like, they don't need the backstory. You could just be like, hey, saw a video of you on this site. Don't know if you know what's up there. Just figured you'd want to know. And just kind of like leave it.
Yeah, like you don't need to do a check-in. Don't have to be like, are you all right? Is this cool? Like, just be like, hey, I found it. And then it's like ball in her court. And, you dust your hands of it. You did your good deed. You're a decent human being. And you move on.
Yeah, and if they get angry at you, or if they, you can then respond to them as they respond to you. Like, if they're like, well, if they come back at you all aggressive, you can wash your hands of it. If they say thanks, you can be like, no worries. And hey, you did a really nice thing, right? And the sooner these things are found out, the more likely it is they can actually get them taken down, which is a good
before
thing.
Mirror sites and everything start fucking...
Exactly, yeah. Or like before people, like if you can find it, other friends of hers could find it, or people who like her, or people who go to her school or work with her, and like I'm sure they're not going to be as cool as this. So, I think 100% reach out, make sure you don't put any snark in it or even imply anything, and just bare bones, like Dane said, hey, just a heads up, I saw this video of you. I don't know if you know what's up there or anything, but I figured I'd let you know.
Yep.
All right.
See? Problem solved. Look at that. 5 minutes in, we're already done our first question.
My boyfriend keeps using my stuffed animals as a jizz rag. When I was 6, my aunt made me a stuffed animal that looked like me at the time. 20 years later, I still have it. And my boyfriend, 28-year-old male, thinks it's weird. Yesterday, I noticed it wasn't on the shelf where it normally is. I found it on his side of the bed with a bunch of stains on the face. I realized he'd used it as a rag while masturbating. I was pissed he would do that to one of my most prized possessions. When he got home, I scolded him about it, and he says, I wasn't doing anything with it, and it was just sitting on the shelf, so he didn't think I would mind. I feel extremely bad that he did this, and I'm unsure what to do about it. What should I do? That's by Throw Raquaya.
That's a fucking. There's so many. Like, one, just jizzing on things in general is fucking wild. Like, do you not own tissues or a sock or
Have a
fucking, like,
stomach?
literally anything?
Yeah, you're 28,
But to,
dude.
like,
You
pick
don't
up
you don't need a
the.
receptacle.
Yeah, to pick up the doll that looks like your girlfriend as a child
Yeah.
and come on its face? That's. Because, like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you 100% right now, this was not a cleanup. He put that thing down and he jizzed on it.
Oh yeah, he wasn't like, oh god, and then had to dash for the shelf and like, and somehow just get the face. No, that's wild. Yeah, like there are a lot of things I probably wouldn't come on even if I had to. You know what I mean? Like there's some things that are weird, and I think like childlike things are definitely weird. Also, like it's a prized possession. What are you doing, bud?
Yeah, I mean, it would be like if you had a fucking, a signed baseball mitt or some shit, and your girlfriend was like, squirt all over this.
Or like anything,
You'd
and
be
even
like, what
like
are you doing?
even like squirting on something is like it's not as crusty and as like usually.
Yeah.
So like, but also, can you imagine this excuse? I wasn't doing anything with it. It was just sitting on the shelf. Like, do you know how many things that you're not doing anything with and like just sitting on shelves are in most homes? Like, you can't just go. We know there's a big trend of rubbing vaginas on books from all of our sex writing, but like, you can't just go coming on things that aren't like immediately being in use. Like, what about the TV? You know what I mean? Like, what about the fucking like?
Well, chances are they're using that. I think you'd have to look at, like,
Okay, what
maybe,
about painting?
maybe
Painting on the
house
wall.
plants. Yeah, there you go.
Not
Well,
using it. It's just hanging
if you're
there.
if you're looking at it, I don't know. But I mean, yes, your point stands. Like, I have a fucking rack in my kitchen that's covered in spices that I don't use. I'm not gonna haul off and cover them in jizz.
Why
That's not
not?
gonna be like my.
I
I
see
mean,
that's fine though.
a little flavor.
Mm-hmm. You spicing up your spices. That's pro spice moves. Instead of like
I
a little bit of dust, you got globs now, and globs are stronger than dust.
stop this. I don't know what the advice is here. Like, I think you definitely need to sit down with your boyfriend and be like, hey, you understand that this is important to me, and what you did is super disrespectful to the thing that's important to me, and thereby, like, in by connection, super disrespectful to me.
Yeah,
Um, and it's like I think we had a question about, like, the guy's laptop that the
yeah.
girlfriend misused. It's the same thing. Like, if you have something, even if it's not that important to you, if it belongs to you and someone treats it like garbage and doesn't understand why you're upset, then there needs to be, like, a talk of boundary and a talk of mutual respect, and that
Mm-hmm.
respect doesn't, like, it extends out to things beyond just yourself. It extends to your belongings, it extends to your friends, it extends to your family. Like, you can't be like, well, I respect you, but, like, I'm going to be an asshole to your friends, or I'm going to be an asshole to your family. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not how that works. If you respect someone, you're going to respect all aspects of them, whether it's belongings or relationships.
Yeah, like I think you really need to chat with him because like I don't think he did this by accident either. Clearly he thinks it's weird because he says it. And like it looks like he did this to probably get rid of it or something like it seems malicious to me. But even if it isn't, like just the pure ignorance is malicious. Like the fact that he doesn't understand that this is a unique item, something of importance to you, and you need to just talk to him. Be like, you can't just come on things I own for no reason. Also, it's kind of creepy. It's a doll of me as a child. Like, I think you
Yeah.
really need to have a chat with him, hammer home all the various, because there are so many reasons this is wrong. And if at any point he disagrees with them, maybe dump this guy.
Yeah. You definitely need to have that conversation of boundaries and respect and be like, there are some red flags here as well. And then, move on from there.
Yeah.
Man, we were getting through this like the jizz soaking into that doll's head.
Stop it. This is a long one, but an interesting one, I think. It comes from a Reddit throwaway account. My 26-year-old female husband, 29-year-old male, wants to give up technology and be a traditional family. He gave away all of our electronics. I've been with my husband for 6 years, married for 4 of those, and I've known him for 7. We have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old together. They share a room, but we're hopefully moving into a 3-bedroom house. I work long hours, crazy long hours, but we're better off for it, and we can live very comfortably. He's had an issue with technology for a while. We've got 3 TVs, one in our room, the kids' room, and the living room. We've got 1 computer, and the children have a laptop and a DVD player. We have a phone each, and honestly, when listing it, it sounds like so much, but it really isn't. And I limit the screen time the children get. They usually only watch a film before bed, Saturday and Sunday, and a little bit of YouTube while eating breakfast. My eldest is obsessed with Roblox. Plus, they listen to music on the TV. I splashed out recently on a new TV for the living room. Most unnecessary expensive thing I've ever bought for myself at £930, but I loved it. I came home from work to find all of our electronics just gone. He didn't even apologize, and it's not like he asked for money. He gave away at least £4,000 worth of stuff for free, probably more. I had only bought him the computer for his birthday, and that was only last month. I'm absolutely furious. He told me basically he wanted to give up electronics, he wanted to live a traditional life, including me staying at home and having more children. This is crazy change in personality, and I can't even talk to him without getting so frustrated. I have tried, and I just cried. That's how frustrated I was, and he just seems so unaffected. He's also turning into a political nut job, and I can't even discuss my own views without him screaming me down because I'm fucking ignorant. I don't know, I'm just so angry right now. Also, I have a 5-year-old begging me to use my phone to watch Roblox videos.
Man, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Therapy. You need to go and talk to someone, like, toot sweet, as quick as possible.
Yeah. I will
like,
note that he hasn't been working. Like it was mentioned in the comments below, he hasn't been working because of isolation. She has the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like that sounds like some kind of mental break, or
Oh, 100%.
like, because one, there's no such thing as a fucking traditional. You know what I mean? Like, electronics don't play into that, and either way, a traditional family is bullshit, because like the reason that's not the case mostly these days is because it was a fucked up system. He can't just be like, you're not working anymore. He can't just be like, you're having kids now. And also just like, let's go fuck your finances and your lives and your agency and everything, because like you should have at least an equal fucking say in this shit. And he didn't even talk to you guys. It's crazy. It's 100% not healthy behavior. Poor kids. Like, sounds like you guys actually had a pretty good handle on screen time and all that, ironically. So like, it didn't even sound like it was a problem in the first place. But no, this guy needs to go talk to somebody, because I think in general that's a giant weird thing to do, and it's not healthy. But like, to have it be such a big, like, kind of like, to turnabout is not good.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is obviously, like you said, like some sort of like mental breakdown because of isolation. Probably because this is the first time he's had to like really take care of the kids.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like he has been the sole caregiver, and I wouldn't be surprised if, because of the political climate, because it says that like he's become this nut job, and she can't talk about our views. Granted, I don't know what views which one of them are.
Well, what if he's just trying to get rid of all the 5G in the house to save his children?
Well, that's kind of my point. Is I'm worried that with all this extra time he's had, he's fallen into this sort of like
conspiracy theory fucking pool.
Like you've seen, like I've seen so many of my friends who I was once like, oh, you're a normal person, who are now like sharing Daily Wire and the Blaze video. You know what I mean? And it's like all these sort of right wing, very like in your face, like the Democrats are ruining the states, and like Tucker Carl. Like it's very easy to like be lured in. Like that's the whole point of them. You know what I mean? It's very easy to like pull people into that, especially if you're already like teetering on the mental brink of stuff. So like,
the thing
all of these things seem correlated to that. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking that like if she's pro Black Lives Matter and pro abolishing police, and he's watching all these videos about how that's evil, that might be where this like big sudden change is. You know what I mean?
100%. Well, the thing is, like, conspiracy theories appeal to people who are scared and feel out of control, because it gives them this sense of like, oh, I actually have a handle on this. Like I'm above people. I'm smart. I'm really like in there. This is the real truth. Like it gives you this like special kind of like place where you're important and you're successful, and I guess like you can be like, you can feel good about yourself because you actually know, and like all this shit, even though it's all bullshit. So I wouldn't be surprised if his fears over COVID and over being at home and all this shit just gave him kind of like the fear to let in all these conspiracy theories to try and kind of like remedy things. Also, yeah, like the first thing that people who kind of like become obsessed with this do is like the media is lying to you. How do you get the media away from everybody? You throw out all your fucking like TVs and phones and shit, you know? So like it's actually kind of scary, but the rise in people who are dealing with COVID and who are like leaning towards these like radical fucking insane ideas, I'm not surprised, that is happening right now.
Yeah,
It's still
and like
terrible, and you
again,
still need to go get help, but
yeah, this is all sort of like speculation too, because like again, we don't know. For all we know, she's the one and he's getting rid of it to like save his kid. You know what I mean? It's like we don't know. Like
well,
for all we know, she's the one
Roblox
who's
is
like,
the Illuminati.
well, yeah. But ultimately, like, yes, the thing that needs to be taught is like professional help needs to, because like you can't have someone start trying to dictate your life. You also can't have people like impacting your kid's life.
Mm-hmm.
Because like eventually, like kids need computers for school.
Yeah.
Kids who don't have computers at school are at like such a massive disadvantage. This is why like the wealth inequality in America
Mm-hmm.
is a thing, because like poorer families can't afford the internet or can't afford electronics and can't afford all this stuff. So like one, you're gonna have the social, like most communication happens over digital means
Yeah.
now.
Especially
So
right
like
now when they can't even go to fucking school. Like
yeah,
if they're if
it's like
they're
how
at
are they gonna do
home,
Zoom calls
yeah.
now?
But even just like on a social level, like they're not gonna be able to engage with their friends because their friends are gonna talk about TV shows that they can't watch now because their dad fucking lost it one day.
Yeah.
And even if you did for some reason support all this shit, it still doesn't matter because he never talked to you. Like there's so many problems with this. And I
And
think
like
like
it's stuff that you bought. Like you bought
yeah,
that TV for yourself as a reward for, I guess, working hard.
and I spent a bunch of money on it. So like
Yeah.
that's such a kick in the teeth. And it's just fucking over your family.
Yeah, like I would be so pissed. Like, PlayStation 5's coming out soon. If I
Mhm.
bought that and then I came home and Amanda had just fucking given it away for free because she's like, well, I read that video games aren't good for blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
I would be fucking furious. So I get it. So yeah, you need to have that talk. You need to sit down and be like, hey, this is unacceptable. You didn't ask me. And then like it sucks because you have kids and you're married and you've known each other for so long. But like there might be a time where you'd be like, hey, you are unhinged, and I'm worried that this will have a direct impact on our kids and my life. So I'm out.
Yeah.
Which is
It's
obviously try to get help first, try to get counseling, try to get to the root of this, because there is a trigger that snapped, and you need
yeah.
to sort of like piece that back together.
Also kind of worrying that he's just shouting, like screaming you down when you try to talk to him and doing like dramatic things like this. Like I would honestly be worried that it would keep escalating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a very dramatic change very quickly. And like the next step, if it continues that trend, is going to be far worse. So
Yep.
it definitely is, as you need professional help now.
100%. All right.
All right. Pick a number between 1 and 5.
3.
All right. Boyfriend was sent a video of one of his friends playing with herself accidentally. This by Throw RA accident vid. The title says it all. My 31-year-old female boyfriend, 33-year-old male, told me yesterday he accidentally received a video of one of his female friends playing with herself. For some reason, he thought it was hilarious and told me without me having any idea that happened in the first place. The woman meant to send it to someone else and asked him to delete it straight away. I didn't see the funny side when he told me this, mainly because I believe if you're going to send something containing graphic content, you check and double check the recipient first before hitting send. This caused a huge argument because I've said, why would she feel the need to send something like that if they weren't already sexting or sending messages of that nature previously? He says I'm making a big deal out of nothing because he deleted it straight away and nothing is going on. He sent me many texts in the time since that happened, explaining nothing is going on, etc., and that he's done nothing to provoke her or sending him that. I can't help but feel I'm being made fun of here. I can't look at his phone because we aren't seeing each other at the moment due to COVID. Also, we've been together nearly 2 years.
I mean, like, I don't know this guy, so I'm gonna go on face value and
Oh
everything.
wait, you don't know this guy? We'll do a different question.
Yeah, okay, never mind. We only do questions for people that I know personally.
Uh-huh.
Um, like, who hasn't sent a text to the wrong person or a
Mhm.
message to the wrong person? Granted, yes, but like, I almost picture like the rare times that I use Snapchat for sexty things. I nearly posted a picture of my dick to like my public story.
Mhm. Yeah, it
Like,
fucking happens.
I get it, especially if you're like, having if you've got all those chat bubbles, sometimes your phone lags and you haven't switched over correctly, and you send it and you're like, ah, fuck me. The big tell here is if you guys aren't seeing each other, he could have not told you at all. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
that's the
it's
thing. Like,
not like you saw the phone and you're like, hey, why is there a naked video, or why is there a video of a girl masturbating on your phone? Like, he had no reason to tell you this other than to be like, hey, it happened, it's funny.
yeah, and like it would be very easy. Like one, if he liked it, to just never tell you, or
Yeah,
reciprocate in kind, or continue a relationship like that. You know what I mean? It would also be very easy if he didn't want to upset you to not tell you, because you might react like this. So the fact that he still told you despite those possibilities is a pretty fucking positive sign, because like if he's trying to sneak around, he's ruined it by telling you.
yeah,
Like he's gone out of his way to let you know this happened. And honestly, the fact that he was like, "Oh, it's funny" and all this shit, I'm sure he didn't necessarily find it hilarious, but I'm sure he also wants you to know. Like, I think I'd feel guilty or weird if
a
someone sent
hundred
me
percent.
something like that. But you also wouldn't want to make it seem like it's a big deal, because then it seems like it's a big deal. So I think I'd be like, "Oh, funny story. I just got this video. Lol, delete it straight away." And not necessarily going, "Oh, hilarious," but more like just a heads up. The one thing to not do if you wanted to hide it is to go out and be like, "Hey, look at this," or "This is exactly what happened."
Yeah, it's a wild move if they were being sneaky to like tell you, because like
Mhm.
again, now it's on their radar, as
Yeah,
before it absolutely 100% was not.
yeah. And if you are saying, like, even if it's like a preemptive lie or whatever, that seems a bit dramatic, because if you got one and they caught it, you could just be like, "Oh shit, they just sent it to me by accident." Boom, there you go, back to square one, and this time it's more suspicious.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It seems wild to jump to that conclusion that quickly and like feel all of a sudden you're in like a conspiracy of people laughing at you. I don't think that's
uh,
a healthy.
so here's the thing. Again, I think you're allowed to feel that. You know what I mean? It's like it is very easy. Like, insecurities are 100% thing, and like you can't expect everyone to be always the best person that they are. So it's like it's okay if you feel a little insecure about it, but voice that. You know what I mean? Be like, hey, I feel really insecure about that. I feel a little weird about that, and have a conversation about it. Don't turn it into accusatory. Don't automatically make it a fight.
But
Feel what
don't.
you're feeling, express your feelings, talk to your partner about those feelings, but don't automatically assume the worst.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, sure, if you want to feel it, whatever, but feeling it and then turning it into a thing, which I've kind of done by posting it online. You know what I mean? Like, if you feel it and are like, "No, that's ridiculous," sure. Or if you feel it and you get over it and you realize it's because you're insecure or whatever, which again, understandable, cool. But like to immediately jump to the worst possible scenario and then keep kind of like building that up in your head is
Yeah,
not good. And the thing is, like, it might not be entirely innocent on her behalf. You know what I mean? Like, she might be like, "Oops," like wink, but
a
it doesn't
hundred
matter.
percent.
It doesn't matter what the fuck she does, because your boyfriend is the only person in the relationship with you, and the trustworthy move in this case is to tell you, and he did that.
Yeah,
Like, what else can
like
he do?
I promise you, there are guys talking to her being slightly suggestive. Maybe
Oh
not
yeah,
sending dick pics, but like 100% she
but
gets
also
flirted with.
probably that too. Like, guys,
I
it can
mean,
work.
maybe. So yeah, I think you need to relax. Again, if you have these feelings, talk to them or
Yeah.
talk about them. That's
Mhm.
fine, but don't manifest a fight before you've addressed the issue, because that will never solve anything. That's just going to lead to all sorts of hurt feelings.
Hell yeah, hit me.
This comes from Sharp Intern. My looks really are holding me back from a relationship, and I'm 30. Should I go under the knife?
Hmm.
Before everyone gets on the "you'll find the right one for you" train, let me explain. I used to be really good looking, but as I've gotten older, my face in particular has gotten just plain old ugly. This has gotten me to the point where I can't even take pictures without having a full on mental breakdown about how ugly I am. Huge nose, bad asymmetry, ugly shape. I need fillers desperately. I'm considering plastic surgery. The rest of my life is pretty well in order, and I'm more or less very happy at how things are turning out. I've done a lot of personal, internal work. People would call me a catch. I even love my body, and I'm totally happy as far as that is concerned. It's just my face that's the problem. I can't even be in pictures. Every time I am, I see the results and I cry. I think this is also why I'm tending to attract a lot of people who like me, but no one is willing to commit to me. Some are willing to beg me to stick around, but they have wandering eyes. Even commitment minded men who have been in long relationships don't seem satisfied with me. A lot of people love me and tell me how sweet I am and all that, but ultimately quickly commit to someone good looking. I'm wondering if my looks are causing me so much to be held back personally and insecurity wise in terms of getting what I want.
Oh man, therapy? I feel like it's a really weird question because it almost seems like they're undermining what they're trying to say at every turn. You know, like they're like, oh, like I don't really like. They're saying like they're terrible and they don't have relationships and whatever, but then they're like, I'm a catch. People like me. People love me. I'm attracting people all the time. People are hooking up with me, but they've wandering eyes. I don't feel like that's an issue because if you were that ugly, they just wouldn't want to hook up with you, or they wouldn't want to be with you at all. It wouldn't be like, I'll get with you, but I won't. I'll still look at other people. What I think is probably ruining these are your massive amounts of insecurity. If you can't get in a photo without crying, if you can't take a photo of yourself without having a mental breakdown, that's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I very, very, very much doubt your face is anywhere near as bad as you're making it sound. And there also seems to be a lot of evidence in your own post that that is also not the case. But if you think it is, you're going to be freaking out so much and being weird about things such as pictures, such as like jealousy when they have wandering eyes, etc. And that's going to drive people away. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't love yourself, how can you expect somebody else to do so? And if you're
Hell yeah, RuPaul, get it.
hell yeah, like if you're like so hung up and freaking out about this stuff, like that's going to kill a relationship far more than any face will.
100%. Like, I can tell you right now, this is like, no one starts really good looking and then gets ugly.
Yes.
I don't think that happens. Like,
No.
maybe,
Maybe
as you get
like,
older, blah, blah, blah. But like, chances are what's happened is like a body dysmorphia kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's exactly what you said. I know it's not a body, it's specifically the face. But like, it's
your body.
I guess there's probably no horrible disfiguration. There's, you know what I mean? It's like, and me personally, I'm pretty against cosmetic surgery. I think you should just sort of like ride the natural look. I'm all about sort of like medical reconstructive surgery, that kind of stuff.
Of course, yeah.
But again, it's your body. You're allowed to do whatever you want. I just think it's a slippery slope that usually ends with a worse result.
That's the thing. Like, I know a few people who have gotten plastic surgery, and like ironically, it usually makes them just look worse. I also feel like the more you do it, the more you then want to do it because like you're not solving the problem.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's a tattoo situation. Like the first time you get one, you're like, I want more.
Well, yeah, it's less almost like putting. Fuck, there's probably a good term I can do, but instead of like fixing a leak, just like putting more paper over it. You know what I mean? Because the internal problem is like your insecurity and your like dysmorphia.
Yeah.
And instead of actually stopping the leak, you're just like, shit, put some cardboard on that. And then when that soaks through, you put more cardboard on it, you know? And that's the thing. That's why I think people just keep getting more and more surgery because they think it's going to fix the problem. But there is no
And it's
problem.
also like, if you have like, if you hate your nose and then you get a nose job, you're like, oh shit, I can fix things now. And then you start, it's like when you draw something and there's a point where like you hit diminishing returns on how much you can keep like editing it. You know what I mean? Eventually you start like overanalyzing everything and it just gets shitty because you've stripped away the essence of whatever it originally was. But this is 100, like you nailed it. It's 100% an insecurity thing. Like you have convinced yourself that you are ugly. And obviously you're not, because you're attracting people like you, and then this insecurity comes up, and people are probably so exhausted trying to assure you that you are not hideous
Mhm.
that they're like, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, yes, I'm sure that like when they go and the next person, or the next time you see them, they're with someone quote unquote more attractive than you,
Mhm.
is because that person isn't obsessed with the way they look. They're just being them.
Exactly.
So
Like, especially like what age? They're like 30?
30, yes.
Like that's no one wants that bullshit when they're 30, you know what I mean? Like no
No.
one, like if you were 18 and you were freaking out, or like 16 and you were freaking out about all your shit and your looks, you don't want photos, and like maybe someone would be willing to put up with that drama, but like they also shouldn't. It's just because they're young and dumb as well. But like when you're
And
that
that's like all you
age,
really have to worry about.
yeah, exactly. When you're that age, it's like the only, like, no, you're not gonna stick around for all that shit. And like looks are so much less important after even like the initial meeting or two. You know what I mean? Like if you never talk to anybody ever, you never got your foot in the door kind of deal. Then yeah, sure, maybe you'd have an issue. But even then, there's a million different things, and your attitude seems to be the worst one. You know, it's almost
Yeah.
like if you're like, oh, my resume sucks, but like you keep getting job interviews, you just show up and like vomit on the desk and keep blaming your resume. You know what I mean? Like your resume seems to be fucking fine, but you need to nail the job interview, and that's not going
Yeah.
to work if you can't take photos and have mental breakdowns, and apparently all you think about is how ugly you are.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that plastic surgery is not going to help that problem, even if it changes your
No.
face.
Nope.
And it's a big commitment, and it is an ordeal to go through, and it is expensive. So you would be far better to, sure, if you want to do it, like, body's your own. Obviously, we can't tell you anything about that, but at the very least, go see someone and go talk this out, because worst case you're still back where you started. Best case, you save a shit ton of money and time, and you know you love yourself for you.
Yeah. Take 10% of whatever you think the plastic surgery is going to cost and put that into a therapy fund,
Yeah.
and go talk to a therapist about all this, and address all your concerns. Read this post out verbatim if you want,
Mhm.
and I'm sure you will have sessions and sessions worth to talk about, because as Niall said at the very beginning, this is insecurity.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
All right. This is by Eliza Avery XX. My boyfriend did nothing for me for my 21st birthday yesterday. Today is his, and I'm torn. To give you a little background, a few things here are important. One, he doesn't understand birthdays because he couldn't care less about his, or so he says. Two, he expressed to me that my birthday is hard for him because he sees me enjoying all the things he wishes he could have on his birthday. His family really doesn't care, and he's never had parties or anything growing up. My family is huge, and I had a whole, even thrown by my mother yesterday, and always do. I assume whole party. I don't know. Three, he has had some financial issues in the last couple of months, so he doesn't have spending money. But birthdays, holidays, and anniversaries are extremely important to me. Not just my own, but other people's too. All I want to do is spoil him. I told him I in no way expected him to spend any money. All I wanted was to feel special. There are tons of things that would have brought me over the moon that are free. I even gave him ideas. A note, a surprise at work. I had a 9-hour shift. For him to just show up and tell me he loves me. Lunch ready when I come home, a foot rub. Literally anything. I'm not high maintenance whatsoever. I just wanted a little thought. Is that too much to ask? Now, today is his birthday, and I don't want to do nothing for him just like his family, but at the same time, does he deserve it? I don't want to make our birthdays into a competition either. Help me.
This is tough, because she's coming from the right place, I think, with just like a little teeter on the wrong side.
Yep.
This is a lot of like internal issues that we have this episode, because again, like, I'm sure, one, it really sucks that like he did nothing, because you made it clear. Like, I was gonna say, when she was like, oh, he doesn't have any money, I was like, then like talk to him, you know what I mean? It's like, have that conversation, be like, hey, birthdays are really important to me. I don't need anything grand. I don't need you to spend any money. Just, let's just have dinner together, or you know what I mean, like something like that. Just, but she said that, and he didn't do it. So that to me seems a little malicious on his part,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bitter on his part. So I think you're on the right track. I don't think you should do nothing on his birthday. I think you should do something small. Don't like bring a gift, because I think that might be lording it over him. But like, maybe make dinner for him, or give him a massage, or something very small, something free, something that me like gets you to spend time together, and broach the subject. Then be like, I know birthdays are difficult for you, but they're important to me, and I want to like start a new tradition of us having good birthdays together. Because I used to date someone who hated Christmas, and my whole thing was I was just like, just because you had shitty Christmases as a kid doesn't mean that we have like they don't always have to be bad. You're
Mm-hmm.
not a kid anymore. Like you have control over this. Like we can make new fun Christmas memories, and they can be ours. They can be our own thing. We can figure out what works for both of us, and that's what Christmas is, and they can be fun.
Yeah. No, 100%. And like, I, it does suck that he didn't do anything, especially when she like literally kind of spelled it out for him. I would love to know why that is. Like whether it is that he didn't actually like maybe he literally doesn't understand that it is a big deal for her. So like when she was saying these things, it just kind of like didn't mean anything to him. Like he wasn't sure. Or maybe for him, it's like embarrassing not to have the spending money and not really to know what to do. So like a surprise at work to show up and tell me you love me seems like really condescending to him. Like maybe he is so ashamed. Like maybe he thinks the stuff he can do for free are not important enough that like doing so is almost like admitting he's not. You know what I mean? Like I know
Yeah.
some people can read things that way. I'm not saying it excuses it, but I also think like yeah, that sucks. But like keeping that going by not doing anything for his birthday, I think is also kind of shitty because they
Oh,
are important to
100%.
you, and you also it's also kind of for you too because you like doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you want to, so 100% do it. If you didn't want to and you were like, oh, I don't know if I should, then like whatever. But like 100%. And Dane, you're totally on the right track with the gift. Like you don't want to be like, here's your new Apple iPad and electric car, because that's a lot of money, and he didn't have any money to spend on you. But
Yeah.
like a nice dinner, like some drinks, like something, the thought more than the cost, definitely. And like, yeah, basically, I'm just repeating everything you said because it was spot on.
Yeah, it's I think this is a thing in a lot of relationships where people have, there's something that they don't like, and they refuse to let go of that and start over fresh.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I said, like with the Christmas thing, or any number of things where it's like people are like, no, this reminds me of X and I don't want to do it anymore. It's like, okay, but like we can't go the rest of our relationship skipping birthdays or skipping Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's important to the other person.
Yeah.
So there needs to be like a way, whether it's your conversation or internal reflection or therapy or whatever, to release and be like, okay, from here on out, shitty Christmases, shitty birthdays are behind me.
Mm-hmm.
We've done that. I've had shitty birthdays, but now I have, you know, uh, all these birthdays ahead of me that can be now good. To just sort of like dig your heels in and be like, birthdays are shit and they'll always be shit because I refuse to let them be anything else. That's a wild move.
Yeah. And I do feel like sometimes people get like stubborn, and just no, like almost like I don't know, like a child, just like no, I'm not changing it. And it's like sometimes you just need to fucking talk to them and be like, okay, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, because
I think a good way is
it's
to show them, right?
it's admission of weakness, right? Like
Yeah,
it's a mission of being like, hey, you were hurt.
yeah.
This hurt you, and it's
And
done, and it still hurts you.
and as we know, men are brought up really well to deal with that.
Yeah,
Society loves when men talk about their feelings.
yeah.
That's why we're all so healthy at it.
So it's like, yeah, I think you should talk about it, and then be like, hey, going forward, I want to work on a tradition of fun birthdays for both of us,
Mm-hmm.
and see where that goes.
Yeah.
All right. This comes from Reddit user looking for some lovey. Dating while
Ooh.
young and broke. How do y'all do it? I, male 19, still live with my parents, and I quit my job when Corona popped off. How do I date? Do girls even like guys like me? I feel so useless. They say unemployed guys give good sex. That better be true.
Yeah, that's actually our number one sex tip: is lose your job.
Like, is that I've never heard anyone say that ever.
I think it's like a media thing where it's like, the hardworking like business guy will like have his girlfriend stolen by like the shaggy haired like dude who lives in his truck, but he just like he fucks. You know, because that's all
Guess.
he's got, right? Because like, you know, like the guy in the TV show has like his money and he has his whatever, and this guy like has nothing redeemable apart from his sex, and it's like the devil, you know. I have definitely heard that, yeah.
Okay, because when I read that, I was like, I don't know if anyone's ever said that.
I don't know if like they say it exactly like that, but yeah, it is kind
No,
of like
what you're saying makes sense. Yes, there's like sort of that,
that
aloof
that
freeloader who.
yeah, that roving stoner who just like, you know, um like if you find someone who's like, you don't have a job, fuck you. They're probably a bit of an asshole, you know? And there's a difference between like, yeah, I don't have a job because of, you know, the fucking global pandemic, and I don't have a job and haven't had a job for years and don't want a job. You know what I mean? I think like a lot of why people are hesitant to be in relationships with someone who like doesn't have a job or whatever is because of the latter. You know, if you're unambitious or lazy or just like coasting on someone else's money, that's usually indicative of like either your personality or like what you plan to do in the future, which is probably the same. So you probably won't match up with someone who doesn't have those views. You're 19 though, and like fuck it, you'll be fine.
That's my thing. Is like, if you were like, there's so many conditions here that sort of like negate what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
One, like living at home is tough. I've never dated while living at home, so I don't really have like I guess you just either have to go to their place or wait until your parents leave kind of situation.
Fuck in a park.
Fuck in a park. But like, there's a global pandemic. A lot of people aren't working right now. It's not that big of a deal.
No.
I don't think anyone's going to be like, oh, you're not working during a place where most people aren't working.
Mm-hmm.
Second, if you were older and there was no pandemic and you were, say, like in your 30s and you're like, I don't have a job just because I still live at home. Why should I have a job? I think that would be an unattractive trait because it's
Yes.
like, cool, what are you up to then? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because that, if you then are like, oh, it's because I'm, doing this crazy thing, and people are like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Then cool. But like, if you're just like, I'm just not working because I don't want to,
Yeah.
then
It's kind of
that's an
all about,
undesirable trait.
it's kind of all about like why you're doing it. And it's like pandemic, you're good.
I don't necessarily like. I can't, in good conscience, sort of be like, hey, it's a pandemic, go out there and like, meet women, because that's a dangerous thing to do right
Yeah,
now.
I would like, if you're in America, just stay the fuck home.
Please.
Because America right now is like it's every day. Every day I look at the fucking news and I'm just like, what is going on? Because it's a joke. Like it's not funny, but it's a fucking joke. So yeah, if you're in America, none of this advice applies to you. Just stay the fuck home. Wear a mask.
Just stay home, wear a mask, and like, I don't know,
Yeah,
bunker down. Pretend the communists are coming and like hide in your bunkers.
but like if you're somewhere, obviously like make informed decisions. You know what I mean? Like about cases and about who you're meeting and all this shit, or just like wait a few weeks because it's hopefully gonna get better. So we're gonna leave that kind of up to you because you're the only one who's gonna know which like stage of COVID your area's in, and make your own kind of risk assessment. I would err on the side of caution, but up to you, obviously. But yeah, like once you get out there, no one's gonna care. Like I wouldn't like once you're not weird about money, hopefully they won't be. And if they are, then fuck it. You probably don't want to be with them.
Yeah.
Maybe like don't be dumb and be like, hey, let's go to this really expensive place, and then bankrupt yourself and not be able to go out for the next 2 weeks. But like your first few dates shouldn't be expensive anyway, And with COVID, like it is the perfect time to just get some beer and go to a park or have a picnic or some shit. You know what I mean? Like you can do stuff pretty inexpensively right now. And there's so many things to do that are either cheap or free. So you'll be good.
You're fine.
All right. Ready?
Yep.
This is by user fictional character. My 22-year-old female boyfriend, 21-year-old male, doesn't hide his boners, and it's embarrassing. So this is an odd predicament to be in, and I've got no clue if I'm being oversensitive or how/if I should bring this up. Anyway, my boyfriend and I have been together for over a year, and we are currently living with his family, which works out fine. He's going through school, and I work full time. We don't need our own place yet, nor do we have the money saved up either, so moving right now isn't an option. Onto the problem. He doesn't hide his boners. This wouldn't be a problem for me if he didn't have to walk out into the common areas of his house with one. He'll wake up in the morning, and yeah, I know, morning wood, blah blah, walks through the kitchen where his two younger sisters, 16 and 19, and mom usually hang out, just in compression boxers with a hard on. Like, dude, you're not subtle. It's very obvious when you have a boner, and you don't even bother throwing on at least a pair of shorts. It's genuinely embarrassing to me, and it makes me uncomfortable when he's parading around his younger sisters. Another instance was recently we went with his father to run an errand. Him in the front seat, me in the back. His dad leaves to go inside, and we stayed in the car. I teased him a little, and he got hard. I knew his dad would be back soon, so I stopped teasing, tried to let my boyfriend have a cool down moment. He was still raring to go when his father got in the vehicle, and I was close to completely mortified. He acted like he didn't care that he was showing, didn't try to adjust it, hide it, nothing. I have no idea if I should mention it to him or dumb it down to probably how he was raised. Haha. Also, I have tried to get him to at least put shorts on before walking out of the room, but he's done that maybe 4 times and stopped.
Oh man. So part of me wants to be like, just let this guy do what he wants. Like, if it's his family. But the problem is like, if he's coming out of the room that you guys, are living in, you are directly attached to that erection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, no one's looking at this guy's hard dick and being like, oh, that's his own doing. Even though it probably is if he's just waking up. No, they're thinking, oh, like they see that hard dick and they're thinking like your face is sort of like just hovering and floating around it.
Yeah, they're like, it basically just has a sign being like, Lauren did this.
Yeah. So it's like, I think it's weird that you're like, should I talk to him? It's like, yes, you should. You should be like, hey, could you be a little bit more discreet about your erections? Alternatively, also, if you know this is how he acts, maybe don't get him hard when you're in a car with his dad.
Okay, yeah, that we gotta talk about. It's like, oh, he always shows his boner. Like, can you believe it? And then his dad left the car, and I just started jerking him. It's like, whoa, I'm sorry, what? Like, you know this is a problem, and you're just like, shit, he's gone for 1 second. Like, maybe he can't stop showing his boners, because every time someone's looking away, you're just touching it. Maybe, like, he's just given up. It's like he has a boner all the time now.
It's like being like, my dog always jumps on the counter and eats the food, but I've left this turkey just sitting on the coffee table.
Yeah.
It's like, of course, yeah, if the problem is him not hiding his erections, maybe stop giving him erections in public. Again, no, I'm not saying...
He overeats, but the second that everyone else is out of the room, I fed him like 3 whole chickens.
I just stuff his stupid puppy face with food.
Aw.
That's really cute.
Aw, stupid puppy face.
I just want to fill that face.
Oh, Jesus, Dan, that's disgusting.
I know. I hated it saying it. So, like, yes, I have the conversation, talk to him, be like, hey, please, when you go out, it makes me super uncomfortable that the women in your family are seeing your erection and thinking that I am the culprit for it. So please put on a pair of pants. It'd be like, you wouldn't want me walking out if you had brothers and a dad in like a thong and, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he wouldn't be cool with that. I mean, maybe he would be, but it would also be
I honestly think it's quite weird. Part of me is like, should I think that it's cool that this family is accepting? Because, like, hey, boners are natural, you know what I mean? Like, if their family is cool with their bodies and stuff, I almost think that's admirable. But the thing is, I'm not sure where I lie, because I can't imagine myself doing it, is the thing. But you made a really, really good point where it doesn't really matter necessarily how they go because it involves you. So, like, even if he starts being like, that's just what we do, you can be like, cool, but it does involve me, and that's not what we do because my feelings matter here. And, like, if he doesn't care about that, then you got an issue.
Yeah.
And it's not about you dictating, like, how he lives and whatever, because it's about how it affects you, and that's very valid.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's like, you need to... you just have to tell him, be like, hey, this bothers me. Can we find a solution to it? And it's like, if the solution is just throw on some shorts, then problem solved. Like, I can't imagine any situation where, like, if Amanda asked me, been like, hey, we're staying with, or my parents are staying over, like, her mom slept on the couch a few times when she's been in the city for like meetings and stuff. Like, if Amanda was like, hey, do you mind not going out in your underwear? I'd be like, yeah, for sure, no
Yeah,
problem.
but it wouldn't even need to be asked, probably.
No, of course not. But it's like, if I was one of those guys who was like, I'm a freewheeling, free
Mhm.
spirit, everything's cool. But if my partner asked me to do something,
Yeah,
I'm
especially
like,
if it's that easily fixed.
yeah, and if it doesn't affect my life at all. There's literally nothing happening to me that like I can still walk to the bathroom. It's not like she's asking me to like, put on 40 pounds of fucking,
Yeah, it's not like
lead
she's
clothing
asking
so
you to
she
do.
can't.
She's not asking you to do something crazy like wear a mask. Pfft,
Yeah.
who would do that? It's only a fucking pandemic.
Okay, do we have time for one more?
Sure.
All right. This comes from Reddit user I'm a grieve. And they say, I am in sixth grade. I am in sixth grade. I'm a decent looking boy. I like a girl. She is fat and short. And I'm embarrassed because I don't know what my friends will think when I say I like her. What should I do?
If they're your friends, they're gonna be your friends anyway. So fuck it. Live your truth.
They are in sixth grade where kids are fucking vicious.
That's true, but I think it's all about like the confidence. You know what I mean? If you're like, oh, I kind of like her, they're gonna be like, oh, you can be like, I like her. They might be like, what? But you're just like, yeah, fuck it, I like her. I don't care. You
Yeah.
know? Or do you need to tell them? Like, is it
Well,
something you are gonna actively go towards? But also, like, I know what you mean. There are some friends who like they're not really friends, but like they're friends. So like, yeah, they'll probably rag you, but like your good friends aren't going to, at least not maliciously. You know what I mean?
also, like, it really sucks to think that in this world, the reason people aren't following through on connections is because they're afraid that someone's like, that's not the girl for, like, that girl isn't quote unquote good enough for you, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think back distinctly in high school where I did not pursue something with a girl that I had a huge crush on. I thought she was cute as hell. And like, I understand that why most people didn't find her attractive. But I definitely did. But I didn't do anything because I was like, because of exactly that. You know what I mean? I didn't know what other people were gonna think if her and I were a thing, and it's so stupid. Like, I wish I could go back in time and be like, hey, that could have been a really cool part of your life.
Yeah.
And it's not that I want to change anything about my life, but it's like I actively didn't do something that I wanted to do because I was worried about what other people were gonna think, and that's stupid as hell.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like I'm sure you can weather whatever joking, whatever. Once it doesn't like come back on her, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't do it in a place where they could be mean to her or to someone that you think it would set them off to the fact that they would be mean to her because that would suck. You know what I mean? Like this poor girl doesn't need that. But like if you've got a really good friend, tell them, and like at least then they'll be on your side if you decide to tell anyone else.
Yeah, and also like you're in a position now to be like, hey, fuck yourself.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like, oh well, she's fat. Hey, why don't you go fuck yourself?
yeah,
You know what I mean? And it's like people like when you don't get angry, when you just kind of like shut down bullying, like what else are they gonna do? You know what I mean? Just be like, oh well, she's fat. It's like you're an asshole. Like what's your point? Like what are you
yeah.
getting at? It's like I think she's super hot. So
And like, also, it's like you could just be like, "Hey, if you don't like her, why does it bother you? You can go after whoever you want, but like, I really like her, so fuck it."
yeah,
Because like, people like different types of people and different, it's everyone has different tastes. There is no like one taste, you know.
yeah,
So just be like, "Hey,
um,
this is good for you. At least I won't be stealing all the girls from you because you clearly suck."
yeah.
I say, yeah,
Um,
just go for it because
so
it's going to be nicer to have that off your chest.
Yeah, I know, I understand why this is a difficult call.
I
I
do.
totally get it. But I really want to encourage you to just go for it. Just do it, please. Because I promise you, there's like everyone's got that story most likely where they're like, didn't go for someone because of they weren't really popular or they weren't seen as super attractive, and
Mhm.
you know what I mean. It's like I'm sure that's the case.
Yeah, for all you know, they all fucking like her too. Oh no,
Maybe,
keep it secret. Get there first. You have to
yeah,
marry her, then tell them. At
yeah.
the wedding, be like, surprise! I like her.
I mean, we're living in a society right now where, like, I think we're finally starting to like chisel away at like societal standards of beauty.
Well,
where
that's
we're now able to like look at different body shapes and be like, she's fucking killing it, regardless of like what she looks like, what her shape is. People can now just be like, that energy is attractive, and I'm here for it.
well, that's one thing is like when we were growing up, like there wasn't the same kind of vernacular like about body shaming and like all that. And I think kids growing up, like they know more about this shit, you know. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping they're going to be better than we were, right? Like I'm sure in terms of like a lot of issues, they're going to be better. I think they already are, you know. And I'm really hoping that like fat shaming is going to be one of them, right? So
Yeah,
hopefully it won't be as hard of a conversation as like maybe we would have had to do as a kid because they're introduced to more fucking concepts these days, right?
yeah, that's a good
So
point.
do it and hopefully it goes well. And fuck it, like your real friends and good people are going to be chill, and the people who aren't, like whatever.
Yeah,
Okay, well we burned through a bunch.
that's not bad. 1, 2, 5. I did 5 questions.
Yeah, I
So
did
you
at
did
least
what?
four
4?
then. Okay, so what, 9 questions?
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, too many questions. See, now we've set a bad precedent. Now people are going to expect us to be concise all the time, and that's not our forte.
No, it's not. But like now we know we can do it. If there's ever those episodes where like let's fucking do it. Let's get in there.
Fair.
I like deep diving on the questions, but I think these ones specifically all had enough to just sort of like talk about and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed our slightly more rapid fire episode. If you did enjoy it and you want us to do it more, let us know. Hit us up on Facebook at FCK Buddies Podcast, or you can tweet us at FCK_buddies. You can shoot us an email at fbuddiespodcast@gmail.com, or you can visit us online at fbuddiespodcast.com or plentyofbeef.ca if you want to send in a question. Any of those formats works. The email or the website contact form are probably the most reliable way to get to us. Make sure we don't miss it. And we look forward to hearing you.
Yeah. So thank you to Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities for their song Paper Stars. And also thank you to Agent Kingdom, who sent us a really, really nice message during the week, which we really, really appreciate. So thank you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're just like, oh yeah, that's why we do this. That's why I'm sweating my balls off in a hot closet right now. It's like it was a very sweet message, and thank you very much for still listening, Kingdom.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's like occasionally you're like, a lot of work and time goes into this, and like we don't make money. But we do set aside time like every week to get questions and get together. And of course, it's always great seeing Dane and talking to him. But it is work, and it makes it all worthwhile when we hear from you guys. So we appreciate it.
Do you have some bad sex writing for us?
Yeah, let's ruin all the nice things we just said with this horrible, horrible thing.
Perfect.
So this is Moonglow by Michael Chabon, which is a pity because I read a book of his a while ago and it was fucking great. But, well, you ready?
Yep.
I was planning to feed you first, Sally said. All right, said my grandfather.
Oh no.
He reached out with a foot to hook the canvas drop cloth bundled in its plastic package. He slid it across the floor and eased himself down onto it, kneeling on this impromptu cushion at her feet. Good Lord, Sally said, and then, oh my. He pulled down her pants and panties and contemplated the graying hair that thatched her belly. It grew sparse but long and very soft against the fingers. He put his cheek to her belly. The soft gray blonde hair rustled in his ear. The smell of her cunt reached his nostrils. Not yet familiar, no longer strange. He tried and failed to compare it to the remembered smell of my grandmother's cunt. It had simply been too long. Too goddamn long. Feed me, he said.
Why do people use the word cunt in a romantic sense?
I don't know. Also,
like that's a common thing in all these like things you read is like people using that word as like that's meant to be like, I guess because it's supposed to be evocative, but like
it's, I don't know. It's not,
unless there's some sort of like social thing right now where people are trying to reclaim that word, which I'm here for. But like I don't think that is happening.
I don't know. I think it's just meant to be like, I don't know. I really have no idea. Because like if I'm ever in like a sexy mood or anything, that's the last word in my...
Yeah, I'm not going to say that.
No.
This is how we finish our podcast. Niall regales us with some terrible, terrible sex writing. And I find a palate cleanser, which is a comment from the Pornhub pornography streaming service. And this comes from Shaquanato Bigums. And he says, Stephanie, please come home. Your mother and I are worried sick. My name is Dane Miller.
And my heart goes out to Bigums. I'm Nas Spain.
And we have been your fuck buddies.
Wear a fucking mask.